Hi, everyone. Welcome to day 15 of our 30-day personal branding growth plan. I'm your host, Rachel Quilty, and we're looking at action step number 5 as it's contained within our Brand Yourself the Expert. And that action step is designing your signature content. So, as you know, we're halfway through our 30-day personal brand growth plan, and we're looking at signature content. And I want to really get you to focus about your intention. When we're looking at a growth plan, when we're looking at any type of plan, we want to set a goal for that plan. We want to have an outcome. And so your goal, your personal brand goal should be to leverage your current professional profile, position your personal brand strategically and systematically as the expert in your field. So you can build a powerful personal brand. You can create a brand that attracts opportunities, develop a personal brand that reflects your potential and your goals, differentiate your brand from other brands, as well as position yourself and your expertise in your field or marketplace. So, my name is Rachel Quilty. I'm considered the authority in personal branding. And really, that came about over 10 years ago now, because what I did was I recognized that personal branding, as it was then, professional image, personal style, that behind those iconic personal brands was a really serious business setup that applied big branding principles. And so I was one of the first people to actually recognize the business behind the personal brand and expose that. And so a lot of that is contained within the book Brand Yourself, which I was launching in the US around that time. And so I'm also the director and director of JumptheQ Inc. in the US and Australia. And I'm also, more recently, during COVID, I qualified as a director and filmmaker, and which is a great skill set to have because we often interview our clients and we create show reels and lots of other very exciting things. I must admit, I love that. So we've been doing it for 10 years, but it's like I'm now qualified, so I can create a movie from it. So let me think about this. My mission is to assist you to strategically, systematically build your professional profile to enable you to leverage your personal brand and position yourself as the authority in the marketplace or in your field. And so the one thing that I really want you to get, if it's the only thing that you get from this training, is personal branding is a prerequisite to success. If you look at any iconic brand, any iconic personal brand, any iconic business, you'll see that there's a brand that's well built and well conceived and well established within and around that iconic brand. So today we're looking at action step number 5, as it's contained within the Brand Yourself Expert training package. So we're looking at 3 training packages. We're looking at Brand Yourself Action Plan, which is the first 10 action steps. Now we're, sitting in the middle of Brand Yourself the Expert training package, 10 action steps. And then we'll move into Brand Yourself the Authority, which is really about positioning and power and creating a presence to establish your authority in your marketplace. And so at this level of branding yourself the expert, it's really creating this signature content and signature brand and your signature IP, your brand voice. And so one of the easiest ways to kind of educate you on how you might create a signature content or signature voice within your content is to really use my own book and some of my own studies and training programs as an illustration of that and how I've been able to go about that. And, this is training that I've actually done for, over 30 authors, and to ensure that they were, including some of these really key components within their book and branding. So, in the last session, we mentioned your signature business model. We're going to touch on that again, just briefly, because you need to be creating that free, low end, medium, high end product and your service offering. And you need to be thinking about the next steps. Like, what is your signature product? What is your signature series? How are we going to weave a theme throughout these products? And so, we talked about the signature business model or the extension model as it's well known. And that's really about creating that free content, low price. I shouldn't say low end, but low end, medium end, high end, and then that exclusive premium price product. And so there really needs to be this logical and natural progression as you move from offering to offering, from one product to the next product. And if we use the structured selling method, which is contained in, all of our sales funnels, or if you will, I talked about it yesterday, the client journey, we need to be building awareness. We need to create interest. We need to educate and help the client or prospect learn about your product. Then we need to encourage them to shop, and then obviously to make that final purchasing decision. And so the idea is that we're looking at the maximum lifetime value of your clients and your customers. You want to build a relationship that's not one off, that it's actually, built over a longer period of time. And so it's really interesting because as I've been kind of revisiting some of this training, I have been paying attention to a lot of my clients as well. And so it's been very interesting to watch how their profiles have really, uh, where they've positioned themselves. And it's really encouraging and it's great to see their success stories. So, like I said, sales funnel, we're building awareness. How do we create this significant number of customer service or customer touch points in which to create this awareness and this attractiveness? And there's different models, and I'm not going to educate or train about them now, but there's a lot of models around the client purchasing journey or the client brand journey, around the sales funnel, around that concept of how we attract people to our organizations, to our business, to join our movement, become followers, become clients and customers. So I'm not going into all the various sales models today, because I really want to touch on what we're talking about insofar as signature content. So we've named and created an outline for all of our products within our sales funnel. This is our first sales funnel. And so we're looking at developing consistent features across them, our branding, our colors, our imagery, our titles, our unique features. We're creating an identity and style guide. So we are recognizing some of our colors. And you'll see there that is I have a signature color, and we also have some signature branding around our book series, Brand Yourself, which is the brand yourself the expert, brand yourself the authority, brand yourself the celebrity as well. So if you haven't already written a book, they really are a great positioning tool. They are a valuable sales introduction. I often just give people my book. It's better than a business card because it really does indicate your level of professionalism, your credibility, and your knowledge and expertise in that field. If you haven't done that already, then one of the things that you can do is start writing a free report or a low end price book that you can just pop up on Amazon around your area of expertise. So what we do for clients, we often interview them and I've got 13 interview templates. And so we create books in, very either low priced or introductory or free books for our clients. And that's really about creating awareness, that initial point of contact. It's low risk. They get to identify who you are and what kind of services you provide. And so it really starts that process of building trust and rapport. And some of the things that you should be thinking about as you're working through your brand and looking at your expertise is those, what I call generic content. So there's kind of three types of content that we need to be thinking about. Our generic content, creating our bio, about our author, about our company, frequent ask questions, and some of the resources. So there's content that you can be preparing so it's there, and all you're doing is cutting and pasting it from one book to the next, from one product to the next, etc. Then you have very specific content, and then you have your branded content. And so if I'm looking at my book, one of the things that I do with all my trainings, if I have an action plan, most people don't have that action plan, but I have a management system. I have a system that I've created around an action plan because I really like strategic planning. I like to have a strategic plan. I like to have goals. I like to set out the actions, and then within the actions, or within the action steps, having all those micro tactical steps as well. So you'll often see that I have the chapters of my books are all very consistent. I have like Brand Yourself for Success, I have the action plan, and then I have Brand Yourself for Survival. And the book will be Brand Yourself Action Plan, Brand Yourself the Expert, Brand Yourself the Authority. So I also have consistent imagery within, I use cue boxes and anchor images. So you'll see that there's images that I use that are consistent across different trainings, across different books, and you'll see an illustration of that. So quotes are in cue boxes, and I quote a lot of experts as well. I also quote myself, and that's one of those things. We need to get you to a position where your personal branding is about having something important and unique and valuable to say, to the degree that you quote yourself other than other people. So I often use language like becoming a VIP, become the authority. And so if you were watching my PowerPoint presentation or video on Facebook, you'll see that I'm showing you an illustration of the copy of the book cover. And so you'll see that we use an image, a concept image. We use consistent colors. We use consistent formatting. We use a cue box for every image where it's delineated. And so we use a white font and on a dark background, and there's some really important psychology around that. Our images are, you'll see the images within the book, within the training plan, within our marketing around the training plan. So we use them consistently, so we build awareness around that. We use a lot of dot points, and within writing a book, we actually use a whole sales format. So we're not just writing a book and hoping and praying that it has some type of outcome. We actually write the book to a very tailored and structured sales process. And I'm probably one of the very few people in the world that has ever done that. And I know when I spoke to some of the highest level salespeople and sales speakers in the world, they have never heard of it. So they were encouraging me to do that. So I thought it's a valuable way, because you're actually using a known sales process and structure when you're doing that. So when you're thinking about your products, you're thinking about the next step, and you're thinking about, how do I create consistent formats, images, outlines, like I said, action plans. You might talk about something else. You might talk about your method. You might talk about your system. You might talk about this micro tactic. You might talk about tactics and tips. Who knows? It's one of those things. You'll notice that the titles are similar. Brand Yourself, because we're within the Brand Yourself series. The next series, which I'm creating, has a very different name and byline. And so the byline of your book would be how you're solving a problem for somebody. And that's, that's a great little tip, because often people are not thinking about, why are we writing a byline? And the byline is because often the title is it may be slightly unrelated, but you have to kind of tighten it and pull it in and wrap it around a problem that you're solving for your client. So you'll see within the book covers, the contrast levels are being considered, the corporate colors are being considered, my audience is being considered, the title, its position, the font, the byline, the testimonials, the back cover is completely designed to be, it literally is a sales structure on the back cover as well. So our image, we have color and associated, we have a compelling headline, we capture that what, who, why, the 5 W's and the 1 H, we capture that on the back cover. Not everyone does this, so this is really good content and good training. And look, I've done a lot of book trainings over the years, and I don't know very many people that cover off the number of issues that I do. So if you are an author and you do want to do some extra training, then, watch out for an invitation or send me an email about what you're looking for. And because I've certainly done that training before, and we can host it very quickly for anyone that's looking at becoming an author, and really a clever author. You can write a book and it go nowhere. Or you can write a book that really does something quite special and unique. So, what to expect? We're very conscious of the language that we're using. We're discovering, we're learning, we're revealing, we're uncovering. So, we're using a lot of emotive language as well. And so, when I'm talking about the signature content, you'll see that as you read my book, so as you read my training content, there's things that I'm repeatedly embedding, and you're being exposed continuously to a certain level of information. Brand yourself action plan, brand yourself the expert, brand yourself the authority, because I'm leading you to where you need to go. Okay, so likewise, when we think of Apple, we're thinking about just much more than just the words Apple. We're looking at the imagery, we're looking at the icon, we're looking at how that icon changes from product to product. So it's a similar product, a similar graphic, similar icon, but it's not always identical. It's often just slightly tweaked, and you'll see that it's very different on each of the products. So we've got this, and obviously Apple has an incredible sales funnel as well. So you enter at one point and you kind of keep going up until you have the whole package of products, and you're wrapped around Apple, and you become a captive audience of Apple to some extent. So one of the things that I have often done in some of my membership programs, they're really around becoming so 10 years ago, I was calling myself a director, and I am now a director. So it's very interesting. But I always talked about are you being ready? Are you ready to take center stage for your success? This is you being the star of your production. So often, as we move into some of our other programs, I'm talking around Hollywood language and movie language, and it's woven all through the training programs. So we kind of have this very professional kind of action plan on the outside, and then once you move in, we're really trying to create this celebrity feel, and you become the VIP, and you see the red carpet, and you see the VIP lounge, etc. So it kind of changes the theme. So brand yourself the expert. We talk about you need to think strategically. So you'll often see the chess piece. When we're talking about brand yourself the authority, you'll always see the sheriff's badge, and that's also on the front cover of the book. And so we're often trying to, add this image concept, which is we're subliminally promoting what this is all about. When you start to look at your personal brand and build momentum, you start positioning your brand, you can start to premium price your brand. And so we will use concepts around wealth and wealth generation. And you'll see that, it's on the cover of one of our books. It's also on the cover of some of our training programs. We use a concept image like the P outside the pod. And so often I've asked people what they thought that meant. And so literally everyone has an idea of you moving outside of a comfort zone, standing out from the others. Those kind of thoughts are generated when you put on a concept image. So this can be related to, it's cross-contextual, not only to a personal brand, but to a product, and beyond that. So look, that's really a very brief concept. And like I said, often it's only 2 to 5 minutes that we get to talk about this concept, when the training itself is actually literally 2 hours, plus you have a workbook, plus you have a work journal, and then you have homeworks, because you are literally designing your business and designing the signature content. And the reason why it's such a great idea is because you don't have to rethink it. Once you've done it once, it's automatic. So now I have the template for my next book series, my training products, etc. So tomorrow we're going to be looking at developing your signature voice. There is a free product or free resource I would love you to get, which is a Brand Yourself Blueprint. Dive across to brandyourselfblueprint.com and download a copy and grab the work journal. That's the one that I would love you to complete, because it is a prerequisite for all of our clients and students. So feel free to complete that. You can email it to me. If you have any questions about it, feel free to drop me a line, rachel@rachelquilty.com or info@jumptheq.com.au, or just leave a comment in our Facebook group, Jump the Q. So dive across to our free resources there at Brand Yourself Blueprint. And so I'll see you tomorrow, everyone. Look forward to connecting then.